Lovely to see you again, mate.
Nice to see you, Charlie.
Yes, so Toikka, my friend. Look, obviously I know you pretty well now. We've known each other for just over, I'd say, like around 2.5 years. I think.
Couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, but something that I would love you to share with the viewers back home is, talk us about your journey. You're obviously here to represent Makea Games, CEO of Makea Games. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you ended up in the shoes where you're at right now.
It's a crazy and wonderful journey, really. Like even before like the pandemic, I had this great idea for a video game, but it kind of like solidified around like February 22. And my mind just kept looping back to those 90s skating games, right? And it's like I just did. I had it like I was in a big vacation in Pärnu, Estonia, on the beach, and I was just thinking all the time. I couldn't stop thinking about like after my karaoke sessions that went into late in the night, I was like, I want to make more video games, and it just kind of ballooned from there. In February, we made the company, and we had this kick-ass idea, and that's where it all began. So Makea Game lets you make a game. What if we could like give every player the tools to actually like make their own video games, like just with the home console, so you don't need any kind of like special stuff to be good at that.
For sure.
Yeah, it's been like, and it's my extreme love for like extreme sports. Kind of like twisted that together. As a kid, I used to play those parkour games, those skateboarding games. It just like ballooned.
Mirror's Edge was it a
Mirror's
big?
Edge was a big one. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series. Kind of like going into those games and then just like mashing it together into an editor like Minecraft.
Absolutely.
Like all of those together, but it's own thing, not totally like ripped off, inspired, you could say. Definitely took a lot of like cues from what are the games you played as a kid, and kind of like mashing those together into the ultimate game.
And what made them fun?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's like back then those games were like on consoles, so you could play them alone or maybe in split screen. But we wanted to like bash that together into multiplayer, like 40 players at once in this multiplayer mayhem.
Yeah.
That kind of solidifies it. It's like when you were a kid and playing these games around the yard, but now it's 40 players and you're jumping off rooftops. Don't do that at home, kids, but you know what I mean. Front flipping and grinding on rails and running on walls.
I think what's really clear straight away is just the sheer amount of passion that you've got. I mean, when we met 2 years ago, you also met with our head of game, Jared and Gav at the time. Just straight away, your sheer passion and just enjoyment of like wanting to make a fun game that everyone at home can, like you said, enjoy and take a part of that foundation of like what you create, but then make it their own.
Yeah.
And that's really what Makea Games is all about, isn't it? You touched on it a second ago, but it's all about the end player making the game that they want to play.
Exactly, and I think like that passion is kind of contagious. I've seen it like everybody we've been talking to, like there's the soulless sweet people around you, like telling you do this and do this to make it profitable and everything, but at the end of the day, what you want to make is a fun experience, especially something that can be shared together in multiplayer. That's really like core of the stuff. And touching on that is like everything we do at Makea. Like if we manage to make somebody look at those like levels and games we have made, and then just go together and go like, hey, I can build that too, and they can just remix any level to anything. That was kind of the crux of the concept. I think like that became like the driving force behind Makea Games as a whole. Even before we even got it like locked in with Supermoves and the whole idea of parkour, it was about that like idea of like, how can I make this something that I can like contribute and share with my friends?
Absolutely.
Just like you invented your own like little like games on the playground.
Absolutely.
Like how can we bring that level of play so that you don't need to code, you don't need to make all this stuff.
And we've seen some of the best games ever created today.
Yes.
Born from like not the original game, but from actually what the players then took and kind of made it their own. And you're capturing that spirit. And it's really exciting times because you never know what kind of world, what kind of maps they're going to create. And obviously the trailer recently for Makea Games, Supermoves, was dropped.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about Supermoves and how that blends in with that creativity?
I think like well, when I was a kid, I've been making games since I was 8 years old, right? I used to mod Half-Life, and Half-Life mods were like a big thing back then. You had Team Fortress coming out of Quake and Action Quake, but then Half-Life gave birth to Counter-Strike and everything like that. And you look at games like Portal, you look at everything like this. Warcraft 3 gave birth to like Dota and League of Legends. So with Supermoves, we wanted to blend together like, what if we had the frantic kind of Fall Guys like party game mixed together with like extreme sports of the 90s, and then just add our splash of Makea magic into it and let you just build anything. That was the actual.
You've got it's called the Makea editor tool, isn't it? Is that the official name of it?
Yeah, Makea editor. Yeah, we just call it the Makea editor. That's the easiest. We used to call it the Makea verse at one point. It was cheeky, but then the weird NFT crypto guys came, and you know how that went. It's fine. The Makea editor is really easy to use. It's the most accessible editor ever. Like, at any point where you're in a match, like, you can just click edit on any level, you can remix any level, you click one button, and then you're dropping down blocks. You can drop down a trampoline, you can change the time of day, you can go there and choose. We have 10 level kits, over 300 props that you can, like, assemble. I gotta say it's like a Lego set. Kind of like, you can just like assemble. We have different teams. You can go to Finland, like in the middle of the woods, of course, because I'm Finnish, I'm kind of like repping this. Singapore, we have a big like skyscraper filled like island you can parkour in. And then we got the stadium with thousands of spectators. It's got everything. Like it truly is how do I say it? A little bit over-engineered even. Really good.
I think it's brilliant. I mean, you mentioned it earlier with CSGO. I mean, everyone's heard of Dust 2, right?
Yeah.
And that map was created by players, it's a very well-balanced map. And I think, when we look at your game and the fact you guys have got leaderboards and time trials, like, you create some really awesome creative maps, but who knows what that, that next map, that next level, or people love the challenging element to it, or, the competitiveness.
Yeah.
That's exciting times as well. You never know.
Yeah, we never know what you can do with our tools. Like something can pop off. You can look at Steam and recent games like Lethal Company. You can look at Only Up, or Only Upwards it was called. I think like everything you're seeing like there, kind of like speaks that there is a true customer need also to kind of like engage in crazy silly stuff. And our game engine is basically crazy silly stuff generator. So you can do a level where you can like drown yourself in a ball pit where it rises and engulfs the entire city. You can just like do these crazy obstacle course maps where you will curse so many times falling down from those. It's gonna be hilarious. And then you can go with your friends and like have these amazing speed runs. We even added a single player career mode that takes like 3 hours to get through. That's like something that I push for really hard for our players who want to be a little bit more offline and a little bit like, okay, maybe I don't like the party game aspect of this, but I really love Mirror's Edge.
Absolutely,
I live like Tony Hawk. So I literally went and made a 90s skateboarding game campaign to it.
It's refreshing to hear, really. You're opening doors to many different types of players.
Yeah.
Like you said, not everyone wants to jump into a really competitive. I mean, I love competitive games, but by nature, I'm so competitive that actually, sometimes when I get home from work and I'm tired, I want to just be able to switch off and chill. And the ability for me to just play the game and not feel like I'm, having to play the best that I possibly can.
Exactly, you kind of take it casually. And absolutely, I think like there's a big skill gap between players who like to just engage with some content on their own pace, and then there's the try-hard speedrunners who are going to be dominating the leaderboards, posting the YouTube videos are going to be filled with that, and both are welcome. Everybody's welcome. But the weirdest people we've found are the ones who are expert speedrunners in the game, and then they make the hard maps, and those are impossible to compete. They make like millisecond, like you need to be really careful with
perfect frame jumps and all the rest of it.
Amazing. And I think like it just speaks to the power of user-generated content as a whole when you can like support every player from every like skill group. Somebody's gonna make a game or level better than us, and that's all fine for us. I mean, as long as we kind of like are there to guide the hand and drop more toys into the sandbox when we see that the players need something more, it's all the best to us. It's more content for the players and more engagement for us, and hopefully more sales, of course. As many CEOs do, we love money. Sorry, that's just when you're a company, you want to make a profit.
Well, you have to, right?
Yeah. It's just so we can pay people for what they do. That's
so you were talking about the amount of players that can play and enjoy the game. How many players can play in the one match?
It's got 40 players at the one, so you can have up to 40 players in a match, and it can get hectic in the smaller maps, but don't worry about it. No need to worry about somebody crashing into you. We decided early on, and we tested this, that you do not want collision in this game. So imagine a game like kind of like Trackmania, where everybody's on the same track, like you don't want them to crash you into the corners or whatever. But then again, we've also got game modes where it's all about like player physical contact. We have bomb tag, and that's the one where you start like ticking down every round, and you need to pass the bomb to somebody else, and hopefully you won't explode.
I love that.
And we go like multiple rounds through this, and through those rounds we kind of like eliminate and find the best like survivor, and that's just the kind of like game modes we want to support. We've been testing and trimming and finding like what is the content in Supermoves, and it turns out it's all of it. They love everything. Like we just keep like going like, hey, maybe you wanna like collect the super letters like one by one. They go like, oh yeah, we found this route. I just like collect it this way. And we're like, okay, cool. You like that? We got an OP mode like in Roblox, kind of looking. Everything.
I just love the freedom you've given the player. I mean, it's been a whirlwind of 2 years, right? You've come a really long way. You know, I think, again, the passion's super clear. I think that's why you've got a lot of investment over the last 2 years and been able to, and something that's really, you know, quite unique from my experience in the world of hosting is that you've somehow stuck to timelines, which is very, very rare in this industry. But what I would like to know, I guess it's something I don't think I've really ever asked you before, is what's been your biggest challenge in over the last 2 years? Something that maybe you weren't quite foreseeing when you first took on this project?
It's kind of a founder's journey, really. The biggest problems are company problems in a way. Like if you look at it in this way, the worst thing is when you like have to let go of people and when you have to take new people into new roles. And the biggest like hurdle and challenge in that is like, how do I keep this ship like floating in the right direction?
Sure,
when you become a bigger team, it means like prioritizing bigger things. I have to cut so many cool features. I wanted to have first-person water slides. You could slide around it and stuff like that.
Maybe the DLC?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. And like choosing and prioritizing what of this vision do I want to keep and what should I like maybe less prioritize to get it shipped. That's like the biggest thing you can do as a chief executive officer is like saying, okay, we need to cut this. It's not working out, but we may add it later. That's fine. And, you know, going through the playtest, we did all the right moves there. Like everybody who played the playtest or demo gave us their feedback. We look at it and go like, okay, we fix this, we fix that, we focus on this and focus on that and deprioritize this. And it's been like balancing act, you could say.
Sure.
In ironic ways, it's like being on a tightrope in a video game. You need to kind of like balance it, like get the end. Yeah, right? But I think like part of the hurdle is just founder stuff. So you need to raise capital while making a video game and at the same time like swooning over investors. There's a lot of those little things that people don't realize about game development, which has nothing to do with game development and all about like keeping up appearances. It's been a tough time for me to like adjust to that because I think of myself as kind of a creative mad scientist kind of character. They should lock me up somewhere, like, you know, and let me out every once in a while to like just do my thing and go back. But then again, I love talking, if you haven't noticed yet, but like I love singing, I love dancing, I love being like an artsy person. And I think that kind of passion kind of shows. Like, you know, it has helped us get a lot of funding and get a lot of team members and get this game shipped. And I cannot believe we stuck the landing. Like,
it's a huge achievement. And I think, you know, this passion, it comes down from the top. You know, you need someone from the front, a real leader that's going to inject that energy and inject that passion into his team. And, you know, the players ultimately will see this.
Kind of like a team mascot, like one of those wacky inflatable arm-flailing tube man you see in like a showroom in a car like dealership. That's kind of my role in a way as well. It gives the motivation boost to my team.
Yeah.
And today, when we have gone gold with the game, I think there's not going to be one team member who hasn't enjoyed the ride. I mean, everybody's of course exhausted. That's video games for you. But today we just sent up like 500 press keys and we couldn't be more excited. That's the best part of this job. We're about to find out very truthfully and honestly, what does the crowd think? Like, it's like doing a magician act and like looking at the crowd like, what's happening next?
Well, I think, you know, you never know how many players are going to turn up.
Exactly.
No one has a crystal ball, but I think, you know, you should be extremely proud of the last 2 years, what you guys have achieved. You know, your first real title that you've taken to the market.
It's our first multiplayer game. None of us have ever made a multiplayer game before. And none of us have ever used Unreal Engine before. So it's a lot of first for a lot of the team. And for many of our team members, it's actually our first like video game they've ever shipped. I've shipped a lot of games to Steam and itch.io and Makea Game Jam games, but there's people in our team who are like, hey, like we're kind of terrified this is actually happening. Like, oh God, you're gonna release this? And then it's my job to kind of be there to show them like, look, it's about to get like real and let's go. It's shipping time. Like, get out of the way.
It's Toikka time.
It's Toikka time. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, from my point of view, like I met you 2 years ago. You know, we've been on an absolute whirlwind journey from, you know, the many Zoom calls and Discord, you know, messages to the late night karaoke bars in London.
The karaoke bar was good. That was amazing.
But like, you know, I mean, if you could say one thing about your journey and your experience of working with us, you know, what's your what would you say? Because it's not the, like, let's face it, working with a bare metal provider it is going to be more work, right?
Yeah, it is. But I think like trusting my team on this and trusting my gut on this has been the best like decision. You've been an amazing like partner on all of this journey, and I think like that's what you need as an indie developer. You need people who you can like depend on. Like when push comes to shove, you're releasing a video game and you have a target to hit, you have a deadline to hit. It's so refreshing to just like get a WhatsApp call from you and telling like, look, it's gonna be all right. Here's this and this and this. It's gonna be handled. You don't get that level of like service unless you're like, you know, a really big company. So it's like flattering, to be honest, to be in, in the position even to like get this level of support, because as indie studios we're kind of used to being alone, like shunned by the big publisher, shunned by the big storefront, the scary console manufacturers.
We're all gamers at the end of the day. We just want to see great games made, and like I said from the get-go, the sheer passion you had, like I couldn't not but want to see this through, and you know, just help you as much as I can. And like, you know, obviously from the day we met, you know, obviously we're not going to be friends for the second we say hello to each other, but over the last 2 years, you know, you're now a close friend of mine, and like, you know, like any close friend, you want the best for them. So it's
exactly, and I think like that's a part of like the entire like ideal here is like when you work with people, you want to keep those people close, and you want to like make amazing things with them. Like we're shipping a video game, I got you a physical copy of it. This is how it's so cool, and I think like many of these things are gonna be like even better in the future. I don't see a better like service provider here. Like that's the level we're looking at Gamescom.
I really appreciate obviously the kind words, mate. But like, let's flip it back to you for a sec. Yeah, if there's one last thing, you know, what is your plan? Obviously, by the time this goes out, the game's going to be out. Is that it? Are you just Supermoves, or is there going to be something else? I already know the answer to this, but I'm excited.
There's a lot of cool stuff coming. Maybe I can tease a little bit that in late like this year we're gonna see new characters come to the game a little bit. It's gonna look a little bit cooler, a little bit more polished, maybe even. We're of course adding new featured levels because it's brain dead easy to add content to Supermoves. There's no reason for us not to see if the community makes a cool level, we can add it to the playlist immediately. Everybody can play it, and it's going to be part of the like shuffle there. Of course, we're listening to our community, what they want to see, what they want to play, and based on that, we're going to be looking at that like, okay, Supermoves is a big hit, let's go full on and make this the next Pro Skater franchise. Or if it's a little bit of a mix up of that, then we'll look at it another way. It's fine. Consoles, maybe, do not know. I have no idea. I'm talking a lot of things. Like the idea here is that as an indie studio, there's a tremendous pressure, but also a tremendous freedom to go wherever we want. We want to stay agile and kind of like not announce any roadmaps or anything for a reason, because we want to see what the community wants. We want to listen to the community.
And I think that's the message that really, like, out of the whole of this conversation, that, you know, the people back home, if they're thinking about making your own game, making your own studio, or maybe you already have, and like, you just want to hear how yourself has done it. Like, this is really cool and interesting for the people back home too.
Exactly, and I think like if you think about those platforms in general, like these big platforms, what we all want to do at the end of the day is share and play. Like play and share all the things we're building together, find those experiences together, and latch on to something. And this is I hope this is the next biggest hit. I don't think there's anything better than this. This is the coolest game. It's gonna get so good.
Tomi Toikka, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I wish you all the best. Obviously, again, by the time this goes out, we'll be playing it. So
yes, amazing. Thank you, Charlie.
No, it's anytime, mate.